Guys, I almost don't want to talk about this because this is like one of my like kind of things I throw a lot, but now that we have this, man, gosh, we're gonna catch so many more fish on this thing. Oh man, that's stanky. Man, that's the new Stank Bug, man. I've been waiting for this bait at least 5 years and just, you know, countless days and days trying to perfect this thing. And now we finally have an action crawl in Maxscent, which is really neat. You know, and starting with these claws too, you know, I wanted to do something a little different with it and wanted to make it where, you know, a lot of the action crawls are very consistent. The claws work together at the same time. What we finally got to happen with these is we got a little bit of erratic action with them. You'll have them where they're working together and then one will kind of, you know, stop and kind of give that, you know, that like, it'll kind of do like a kick and then restart again. And at first we were trying to get rid of it, but the more in testing that I did with it, it caught more fish than, you know, than having them run together. So we kind of messed up, but made something really cool. Going up the rest of the body, super soft, Maxscent material, but still tough enough to catch a lot of fish. You know, we wanted a bait that you could do a lot of things with. You know, there are a lot of different techniques, you know, all the way from drop shot to Carolina rig up north, to coming down south, flipping it into, you know, heavy cover and stuff, or as a jig trailer. And so we got that perfect body shape that's really good for smallmouth, largemouth, just that perfect size that you're able to do everything with. And with the Maxscent scent dispersion that's in it, it really just takes this crawl to the next level. It allows you, when you're flipping mats or any kind of weeds or structure, laydowns, docks, you're able to let this thing soak and let it do the work. This last year, man, I went to Saginaw Bay, almost won with largemouth, flipping this thing, you know, a smallmouth tournament, and then going right into the very next tournament and almost winning that one at Lake of the Ozarks, throwing it on the back of my slobber knocker. And man, I'm just super excited to have it, and it's gonna put a lot of fish in the boat this year. So coming from Florida, these are definitely my two favorite ways I like to throw the Stank Bug. One is on a swim jig, just like that, threaded on the hook. Another one is a light flipping Texas rig. You know, I'll also go up to a 1 ounce sometimes, but that half seems to really do really well. Another technique I really like to use across the country is right there on the slobber knocker. Just thread it on just like the swim jig, and just the little legs kick and have really good action. And then going all the way, now this is something I like to do low water conditions or going into pre-spawn, cold weather, you know, really pressured situations. Right here, I like to take the old biffle head, swing head, and put the Stank Bug on there just like that and do a straight retrieve. And then now getting into part of my favorite part of the year, summertime, up north, smallmouth fishing. Right there, that was one I actually used this year. I caught all my fish on the St. Lawrence River with that. Just you know, a jig head or your Ned head, threading it on just like that, doing a lot of casting it around and straight reeling it. Another great way to catch smallmouth and largemouth is on a drop shot. There I'm doing the same thing, just threading it on a straight shank hook, putting a little, I like to actually go kind of heavy on my drop shot weight, about a 1/2 ounce. It really helps get those legs kicking as it falls. And then this is for you old school guys, right here, Carolina rig, right there. Now you have it, Maxscent. And man, that sucker, that is gonna catch a lot of fish up north this coming year. This is my new favorite setup. I've swam the jig a lot with a bunch of different trailers and stuff, but the new Stank Bug works really well on here with the Maxscent. And all I'm doing, you know, a lot of times you would hook your trailer, you know, you would hook it straight through. This one here, we're just gonna thread it right on just like that. And then push it right up on that keeper. And then right there, that's what you get. And in this jig, this Berkley jig, it's got the PowerBait in the skirt and everything too, so that helps. But that trailer is the key to getting a lot of fish when they come up behind it and they don't want to eat it. They'll grab that trailer. So now it's up to me to actually let the fish take it. You know, because it's hard when you feel them come up and start pushing that jig, you want to set the hook, but I'll try to calm down, and when one gets it, try to, you know, usually try to give them a second, let them actually taste the Maxscent and eat it. Oh my gosh. Got him. Gosh, that was so cool. I just gave him a second longer to take the, you know, to actually take it. Yeah, it's crazy. He was like chasing it. Oh, that was cool. Oh my gosh. We're gonna get a big one. I can feel it. When I'm swim jigging, I'm thinking, you know, normally I'm covering a lot of water with it. I'm moving quick in the boat. I'm kind of just hitting the high percentage areas, like where you think, oh, a fish should live like right there or right there. You know, I'm throwing this thing really fast. I'm actually popping the rod tip to keep the jig near the surface, and I'm reeling, picking up the line as I'm popping it, and keeping the trolling motor going pretty quick. Oh, there we go. Oh gosh, I missed them. Oh man, we're fixing to get some bites, I think. And there's a lot of different ways to throw the swim jig. My favorites is like we're doing right now. Ugh, just like that. Working it fast, covering water. So that was just like I was talking, you know, we're covering water, fishing it fast. Let me show you a couple other ways I like to throw it. I try to keep it where I can see it with my eyes, but I can also, you know, sometimes you'll have to slow it down, you won't be able to see it, and then you kind of got to do it by feel, but most of the time you just keep it right under the surface and you'll either see them come up or see the boil. The swim jig's so versatile because a lot of times you can swim it and all of a sudden you get to a point where you're like, oh, I want to put a flip there. And you'll just flip it in, let it sink down to the bottom. You know, and sometimes you can catch fish doing that too. So instead of having to swap hands and pick up another rod, you know, you're able to just go ahead and just flip that jig right in there. So another neat thing, you know, when you're threading this trailer on, it really will help. You know, when you're trying to skip it up under docks and stuff, it kind of gives it like a flat belly on the jig. So it really, you know, not only does it come through the weeds really well, but when you do want to skip it up into places, it skips like a rock, you know, when you thread that trailer on like that. All right, yeah, we just left where we were swim jigging because this little area here looked really good to do some light flipping here. And you know, when I'm light flipping, you know, here I got a 1/2 ounce on here and I'm just taking the Stank Bug, and you know, what's really neat about it is just how you're able to just pitch it around in a lot of these places, and the legs will actually kick as it falls, and you can pull it back up and drop it back. But when you get to that high percentage area where you're like, there's gotta be a bass sitting there, you know, you can just leave it and just let it sit there and just give it a second, let the bait work. And a lot of times, especially when you get around them, that seems to really get them better than any bait I've ever used. And just when you get in that area where you think there's one, just kind of slow it down and just let it sit in there. Almost like when you're dead sticking the general, you know, it's very, very similar, except now you're able to do it in a lot heavier cover. And the same thing will also work very well when you're flipping mats. You know, heavier mats, you got a 1 ounce, you know, you'll flip into the mat, you know there's one there. You know, you might yo-yo it up and down a couple times, and you'll either let it sit on the bottom or pull it up to the top and just kind of let it dangle there at the top. And a lot of times they'll come up and just slurp it right in. You know, I've always been a really big believer of Maxscent, and you know, it just time and again, it would prove itself. You know, I was, you know, out there fishing, and one time in particular, I was flipping these mats, and I was getting some bites, and I was using you know, PowerBait and some other stuff, and I'm flipping these mats, and I knew the fish were there, but I couldn't get them to bite, and you know, I would swap over to the Maxscent and would flip into these mats, and I would some of the flips would last over a minute, and I was really letting it soak, and I was really working under the mat, pulling it to the top, leaving it there, and man, I ended up, you know, catching 5 or 6 fish out of this one mat. And just time and time and again, you know, with Maxscent, I feel like I have a story from that almost every week, you know, during the tournament or something where I've slowed down, really let the Maxscent do its work and caught a ton of fish. And what I'm excited about is now that with the Stank Bug, we actually have an action crawl that we're able to actually attract fish to it, you know, with the pinchers kicking, and then dead stick it and have that Maxscent scent where, you know, they'll just pick it up off the bottom. And man, it's gonna be a killer new bait. The gear I like to use when I'm swim jigging, you know, I like a little bit longer rod. I like a 7.5, 7.6, something with a little more backbone because we're fishing a lot heavier cover. But you wanna have something with a little bit of tip so that you're able to either pop that swim jig or clear it from whatever weeds you're throwing it around. The one I really like, I like this 7.5 World Class, is a medium heavy, extra fast. So, you know, it's that perfect bend that you want for a swim jig. I'm gonna have it, you know, usually I'm anywhere from 30 to 50 pound braid, depending on the cover that I'm fishing. And then I'm gonna have it on a high speed 8-3-to-1 reel. This one's the Xenon MGX. It's super smooth. It allows me to just, you know, put the jig right where I need to, whether I'm swimming it through lanes or, you know, really tight areas and heavy cover. So when it comes to flipping, you know, heavy flipping, 1 ounce flipping, you know, I'm gonna use like a 7.6, 7.5 heavy extra fast rod. But today we're doing a lot of light flipping. So I'm using the same rod that I'm swim jigging with. It's a World Class 7.5, medium heavy, extra fast. And it just, you know, it's that perfect rod tip plus backbone that you're able to flip, you know, half, 3/8 to flip into like lighter stuff. Same thing, I'm using 30, 40 pound braid on the reel. I like this Xenon X reel just because it helps me when I'm looking down to grab a rod real quick, especially in a tournament, you know, that I'm not grabbing one of the other rods. I know that all my flipping rods are Xenon X's reels, and it really just helps, you know, speed up the process when you're grabbing the right setup for the conditions. Oh man, there's another one on the Stank Bug. Well, that's it for it, guys, man. I really am excited about this bait. Man, it's just a ton of bites. You know, we finally have a Maxscent action crawl, you know, so we're able to actually swim some Maxscent and the scent dispersion. It gets a lot of bites. So, you know, anytime you know you're around some fish, go ahead and pick up the Stank Bug, let it soak, let it do the work for you, and put a ton more fish in the boat.